not too long ago, you be there this Kcee Limpopo, this content creator and night streamer Kcee Limpopo, live stream.
Yeah.
And maybe they ask you about Biafra. I say you don't know anything about Biafra. I say you know, maybe you tell them. But the way you answer, make people come there assume say you they kind of like they distance yourself away from. I don't want to use what you represent, but then again, it's part of your region, the region you come from. We feel just kind of like address that particular argument.
Yeah, the truth be say, now see what we just talk about now. The fans sometimes they misunderstand or they push matter the way you're not supposed to be. For Kcee Limpopo event, live stream, ask me questions, say, what state are you from? The video is online. I say I'm from Anambra State. You can say, say I'm Igbo. You can say, what is it about Biafra? I can't say Biafra is our baptism name. You understand that we are all Igbos. All Igbos, our baptism name now, Biafra. Internet people, some people don't change and say, Kcee, they support us. Kcee, stand with us. A lot of my Igbo brothers too.
For real?
Yeah, they come, they drag me. But the truth is, make we check them now. Somebody ask you a question, where are you from? I'm from Anambra State, and I'm Igbo. Biafra was created in, I think it was in 1967 by one guy, Frank Opigo, from Bios, I think. He suggested that name for the Igbos. We understand, Biafra. And we adopted it in 1967. So before 1967, who are we? Igbos. When my mother gave birth to me and my father, they named me Kingsley. When I grew up and had my baptism, they named me Cyril. My baptism name is Cyril. So when you asked me this question, I was like, Biafra is my baptism name. That means I'm still a Biafran.
You're not denying actually.
As far as I'm concerned, every Igbo man under the sun today, anywhere you are in part of this world, you are a Biafran. I am a Biafran. I'm an Igbo man, and Biafra is where we are from. It's just like the Arewas and the Oduduwas. You understand it? But you can't come and say I'm from Oduduwa. You understand? You can't say I'm from Arewa. You understand? So I am from Anambra State. I'm Igbo. I'm a Biafran, 100%. I don't even twist about it. You know, but some people won't come begin twist them in a negative way, because if they ask me that thing, I didn't want to talk about it because it's a sensitive something.
Sensitive stuff.
And we're talking about it right now, just like our brother Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes, talking about himself.
You know, the way millions of people across the world, they lay their voice, they scream loud for him freedom and release. Now the same way my voice they strong, loud, you know.
But it almost be like say until the court judgment, majority of people from that region be not they have spoken that much. Now until the court judgment.
Now some people think a lot of us have been on the ground working of that. When matter they court is against the law
to speak about
for you to speak about it,
in
they
public.
can pick you up. It's against the law. We are lawful people.
Do work
a lot has been happening. A lot has been going down. We are part of it. Right, you understand? But when matter they call, why a lot of people started speaking up was because the judgment don't rule, and people can speak now. You understand? And as far as I'm concerned, I urge my Igbo brothers across the world, make we not lose hope, make we still stay steadfast and pray. I believe say there is still light at the end of the tunnel. God will still give us freedom and victory. But for me, I remain pure Igbo man, and I'm still a Biafran. And as far as I'm concerned, every Igbo man under the sun is a Biafran. But
just to ask you being I think I want to clarify this now from you, because I think that the whole wrong perspective or narrative they come from. So when people hear Biafra, they say, oh, they want to separate from Nigeria. That's basically where people they think say Biafra actually stand for.
Reality.
Is that it?
That's what everybody thinks, and that's what. So the thing, the agitations from the Biafrans definitely can be hidden. They want to leave. That's the agitation from the Biafran man. You understand? But by God's grace, our dream would definitely come true. You understand? The dream of every young person is for a better country. My dream as a Biafran is a better country. That's all I wish and pray for. Nothing else than a better place. I've been traveling around the world. I see the way things are working. Things needs to work right.
So that's to say, you they say, if there's a better country that benefits and include everybody, there will be no need for the agitation.
My brother,
of separation.
Do you agitate on something where they benefit you? Nobody.
Certainly not. Okay, I get
Do you want to react, say, if your mama they give you food, now I want to say no, they give you food. You understand? All of us get sense now.
In the wake of the recent imprisonment of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Abia State Senator Orji Uzor Kalu appealed to Igbo to demonstrate a greater sense of maturity than what others are giving them credit for, eschew violence in any form or substance, and resist every inevitable attempt at being provoked. In like manner, Senator Kalu, who represents Abia North in the National Assembly, has been more than ready to offer his thoughts on a range of other issues of national substance and has been one of the most consistent supporters of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's handling of Nigeria's affairs. Senator Orji Uzor Kalu joins me now on This Day Live on Sunday for a quick chat on the state of the Nigerian nation. Thank you very much for joining us, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu. You're welcome to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show.
Thank you, Dr. Akpati.
Well, Senator, a few days ago, or let me say more than a week ago, you were quoted as saying, look, IPOB, ESN, have both been responsible for the killing of over 30,000 persons in the Southeast, disrupting the people's livelihood, and that people should just moderate their anger or their, reactions to the life sentence passed on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu by the Abuja Federal High Court. And now, IPOB, speaking through Comrade Emma Powerful, issued a statement, I think in the last 24 hours, saying that, one, you will have to name those 30,000 persons that were killed and who killed them, because IPOB is not a violent group. IPOB has not killed anybody. And that, in fact, you are one of the sponsors of violence in the Southeast, a Biafra group and another group. And that when you were governor, in fact, you encourage criminal elements along the Aba-Port Harcourt highway. And so you have no moral right. And I'm waiting for you to either name who killed who, or you retract your statement, or you apologize. Which of these options do you want to take? Because Emma Powerful makes it look like it's an ultimatum. Either you apologize or you retract, or you provide evidence of who killed who in the Southeast, when he accuses you of being behind the crisis in the Southeast. I'm sure you have seen this statement. What do you have to say in reaction?
Thank you. Thank you, Ruben. I mean, this is a childish reaction. My statement was very clear on what I said. I said there are over 30,000 Igbos that have lost their life in process of sit at home, do this, do that in the Southeast. Businesses were stopped. People in Ihiala, along those areas, and people in Olo and part of all the Southeast cannot go to their homes. And that is, I'm a commercial man, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't want, if any man powerful is talking to you and issue statement, you should come on the television the way I have come to address you. That is a man powerful with clear identity of who he is. So these Igbos should not be taken for a ride or for granted. I sympathize solely with the families of Nnamdi Kanu and on what has happened to them. And I want the federal government and everybody to think on how they can resolve the matter. But also federal government and everybody should think on what happened to people that lost their businesses, people that lost their life, people that are brothers and sisters that have been killed, and all the rest of them is a statement of fact. I don't talk anyhow. When I was governor, Abia State was the safest state in that park. There was nothing like armed robbery. There was nothing like all this is happening today, because the place was properly policed. We did with the SSS, we did with the police, we did with all apparatus of the federal government. No. I established the Bakassi, yes, and the Bakassi was not for boyfriend or for girlfriend. It was purely to police and keep our place safe, and that was what I did, and I have no regret in doing it. If you give me opportunity again, I will be able to keep the place safe again. Dr. Pati.
Okay, but one of the claims is that you are one of the sponsors of a group called Autopilot and also Biafra Restoration Group. And yet you are saying this.
I don't know anything. I've never had this name. I've never had any name like this, and I cannot sponsor anything. I was governor. I established the Bakassi, and the Bakassi was in charge. I think these kids should take Nigeria serious and take Igbo people serious. They should stop doing these things they are doing. We should be tired of this faction. We should think on how to move forward, how to use political solution to sort out the Igbos in where we belong today in Nigeria. Nobody takes the Igbos serious when it comes to this kind of things. These guys should stop this old-fashioned way of doing these things. I think they should now find a way on how they can put back Igbo in the map of Nigeria. Please, this is what I think. I don't want to, Dr. Akwati, to waste my time in answering frivolous questions with you. I thought you have invited me to your program to discuss things that are very visible, not that no history in the world have me as a leader of any other thing than being governor of Abia State.
Okay.
If a more powerful is alive, he should come onto me with you in a program and tell me where I establish autopilot. What is called autopilot? I don't understand. I never had that name before. That you are saying it today, and I want these boys to take serious their ways and know that Igbo people have suffered a lot on what they are doing in Igbo land. It is not acceptable at all to anybody, because this is old fashion of doing things. They think on how to make peace. They think on how to bring out Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They should think about tomorrow and think about people that lost their lives and families that they lost their lives. Those families are not happy, but they don't want to talk.
Okay,
so they should think about these things. It's more important than any other thing.
Okay, Senator.
I want you next time you will invite me, bring that Emma Powerful, whatever he calls his name, let him sit line on line and explain to Nigerians what he meant by what he's saying, please.
Okay, Senator, okay. Let's look at the ideological underpinning of the protest, the struggle, and all of that. They are saying that they want the restoration of Biafra. They are saying that Nigeria is not offering Igbo what the people of the East deserve, and that it is better to separate from Nigeria. It wasn't this the same struggle about the civil war. What General Odumegu Ojukwu fought for, the likes of General Effiong fought for, Christopher Okigbo, and many other Igbo people. So perhaps they think that you are less Igbo than they are. That's why you are criticizing them.
No. Dr. Akwati, I'm well-blooded Igbo. I was with Ojukwu in the late days of his life. And Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu can testify to this, that I've always been coming to the general, and the general was coming to Iwere in my village to stay 2-3 days, some weekends and all the rest of them. And Ojukwu told me that the first one was necessary, that the second one is no longer necessary. And even if these boys want Biafra, who are you going to rule when you kill Igbos? When you stop all Igbos of doing business? When on Mondays, if you see people going out for business, you start pursuing them and killing them? I mean, it is not rational. It is not just nice. I thought with what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, what these boys should come together in a table and say, how do we get peace to resolve this matter politically, and not still talking tough as they are trying to behave. And it's not rational at all for any right-thinking Igbo people who have lost family, who have lost businesses, who do not identify in anything Uli, Ihiala, all those areas. Nobody goes there. And part of Olo, where the governor of Imo State comes from, nobody goes there. So, and part of Southeast. So I think even if they want Biafra, they should drop their arms and go with their flags and demand for what they want and negotiate for it. Talk for a referendum and all the rest of it. That is really what they want. Me, I want to be in Nigeria where justice and equity prevails. I want to see Nigeria where goodness and love prevails. This is what I would like to see.
Okay, Senator.
So even the man that fought for the world. Yes, go ahead.
No, after you, sir.
Yes, so even the man that fought the war, the wife is saying the same thing I'm saying. The Minister Bianca Ojukwu knows the thought of the husband. And nobody will believe on destruction of Igbo land. Enough is enough. Let us stop destroying ourselves. Let us stop destroying our properties. Let us stop destroying what we have. Look at, there's no more commerce in the entire Igbo land. How are we going to live? Things are difficult. Things are very bad for people living there. So how are we going to live? Okay. These are the issues.
Okay, Senator.
I feel so sad that these boys at this time is still talking about this kind of behavior. I mean, I think there should be a change people to talk how we can negotiate with federal government to peaceful resolution of these issues.
Honestly, there are moments when I sit back and reflect deeply on the journey of IPOB, the struggle of Igbo people, and the long, painful history that continues to shape the present. And each time, one thought returns to me clearly. The best thing IPOB should be doing right now is pursuing a full-time political solution for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Because when we look at the reactions of our leaders, especially people like Orji Uzor Kalu, it becomes very obvious, painfully obvious, that many of them are not sincere with the Igbo issues, the Igbo agenda, the projection of Igbo people. Everyone can bear witness to the way he responds whenever matters concerning Biafra or Igbo are raised. And if we truly want healing as a people, we must first be sincere with our perception. No one who knows the history of our people should ever dream of going into another war. Not again after what happened in 1967 to 1970. Morally justified, historically justified, but also deeply, very deeply regrettable on a human level. And what is more troubling is that the very cause of that war, the injustice, the imbalance, the marginalization, is still hovering around Nigeria today like a dark cloud. So I ask, why is the Nigerian government refusing to address these issues? I do not support violence in the agitation of Biafra, because every act of violence only endangers the same people you are trying to protect. Yet, ironically, the same Igbo politicians who should stand for their people are silent. They do not address the welfare of their own. They speak only when it benefits them politically. Biafra is an ideology, and you cannot kill an ideology with force. You can never do that. You can never. You erase an ideology by addressing the core issues that bettered it. And until those same issues that led to the war in 1967 are solved, we are simply pouring water into a basket, expecting it to hold. It won't, and it can never. So for me, the back and forth between Orji Uzor Kalu and the more powerful, that is IPOB's spokesperson, is not even important at this moment. Because the truth, and it is a painful truth, is that why the federal government of Nigeria is holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the real people holding him are Igbo political leaders. That is the obvious truth. Everyone can see it. Every time the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu comes up, these politicians become divided, confused, and conflicted. And I ask myself, how then do they intend to solve this very issue? Yes, many lives have been lost in the Biafra struggle since IPOB emerged. But how exactly did IPOB start? They started with flags, ordinarily, with nothing but flags, asking for a separate nation, which is their constitutional right. Then the sad story, the military introduced Operation Python dance, and the Python obviously danced mercilessly on the innocent Igbo youth. Till today, Imo State is no longer a place people freely visit, especially around the areas where the incumbent governor, Hope Uzodinma, hails from. It is a very big problem, and people are quiet, leaders are quiet, nobody's even speaking up. There is an undeclared war going on in Imo State. My sister is married in that Imo State, and political leaders are behaving like nothing is happening. So people need to speak up to know how this whole issue is sorted out. Then, talking about Kcee, the musician, boldly identifying himself as a Biafra, that is a courageous move, because Biafra is a choice. Every human being has the right to identify with whatever they believe in. No one should be bullied for supporting it. No one should be bullied for not supporting it either. So it is clearly the thing of the choice. Coming back to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, when it comes to Kanu's case, I've maintained consistently in my previous videos that this matter has no legal foundation. It is completely 100% political. Kanu represents the idea of 80 to 90% of the Igbos today, whether you like it or not. That is the obvious statistics. And anything that will resolve this issue must be political, because no court in Nigeria, absolutely no court, will release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unless the federal government want him released, and probably the Igbo political leaders when they come up real to discuss about it. So I repeat, no court in Nigeria will ever free, even if when the Court of Appeal freed and acquitted him, I think that was in 2022 or 2021 thereabout. What happened? What exactly happened? The federal government filed a stay of execution, and the same Court of Appeal granted it. That alone shows that this case is not in something the judiciary can actually dissolve or can actually decide or solve. This is not me saying Kanu should not appeal. No, he should. It is his fundamental right to appeal. But I am being very, very realistic at this moment. And we all must be realistic. We must face what is obtainable. And Kanu being released through the court is not obtainable in any way. It's not. So I am calling on Orji Uzor Kalu and all other Igbo political elites. This is the time to be serious. This is the time to be direct. Enough of the hiding. Enough of the pretense. Let there be a roundtable discussions about the Igbo cause. Most importantly, if possible, let them push aggressively and sincerely the inclusion of the referendum in the Nigerian constitution as it is being reviewed. It is long overdue. This endless bloodshed must stop. People's life matters, and resolving these grievances will help every one of us. Because if Nigeria was working the way it's supposed to work, if fairness, equity, justice, and balanced development were present everywhere, nobody would have been listening to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from abroad. Absolutely nobody. Think about it. Kanu was in the United Kingdom, yet people listened to him, obeyed him, his orders. How? Why? Because obviously it speaks to the deep level of frustration, hopelessness, and abandonment the people feel. They feel it. They have no choice. So I say again, Igbo political leaders must do more. This is not the time for hide and seek games. That era is over. The people are tired, and the situation is urgent, and the history is watching. As always, this is About Perspectives, your domain for unfiltered news and raw political analysis. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to smash the subscribe button and subscribe to this channel so you would always get notified each time we drop a new episode. And don't forget to leave your comment what you think about the new development on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Biafra. See you next time. Thank you for watching.
I listened to Senator Kalu, and of course he expressed his own position and challenged Emma Powerful to come up with his own. And he made some salient points, for instance, that he was very close to General Juku himself, who concluded that perhaps the first agitation for Biafra was sensible, but that the next one isn't necessary. And I also agree that that agitation has introduced a lot of violence, and that it could have been better synchronized to channel the interests of the people, legitimately so. And what I personally also monitored was that perhaps when it started, there were a lot of people mobilizing after Kanu, but towards the tail end of the trial, that fizzled away. And right now, a decision has been made, and then some stakeholders in the southeastern part of the country are trying to see what political resolution can be brought to it. And he also mentioned that it's about time that the Igbos should position themselves within the nation and work together.
I like the point he made about the impact of Biafra, that if you're, I think the way he said it is, who are you going to lead when you've destroyed businesses in the East and and people have lost their lives, and what is the end of that? And that if there's really an interest in secession, why not spend time in negotiating? And I think what struck me in that is the notion of the possibility of a referendum. A referendum is one of the proposed constitutional amendments. And I think it would have gone a long way if that was seen to be something that was advocated as a way to have the conversation around, do we want to stay together or go separate ways, as a point of agitating for a separate space.
And the points he made were not very sharp. It's very sad because I suspect he likes to see himself as very deep and a big leader. But if he hasn't got anybody to tell him, let me tell him that he doesn't come across that way. Maybe deep down he is, but in terms of perception. Because up to now, it is not clear to me what his position is. If the people who want secession have a right to it or not. He talks about the fact that it was necessary in the past, probably not necessary today. He has not made the point very clear. He's a senator. If he believes that the instrument of referendum should be available for self-determination, then he should raise that law in Parliament to make it possible. I think it is important for us not to allow people who are charged and paid to act. We shouldn't allow them to pontificate. That should be left to those who haven't got that role. And I think it is sad that he's doing that. You threw some hard evidence at him, albeit, in a very moderate way, but he couldn't even deal with that. How dare he say, very vaguely to whom, that he did not have the conversation with his daughter about the nomination. I mean, I find that a bit offensive to viewers. Those are the kind of responses that they used to give in the days when something happened on Monday and it's reported on Wednesday, not these days when people sort of shoot themselves when they post it on social media themselves, or other people post it for them. So that's a bit sad. The other thing, I like the fact that he said, those who accuse me of something should come and prove it. Yeah, that's a strong way to go about it. God help him if that one comes with some kind of proof. And if that one hasn't got proof, then he has a huge problem there. I think it is true that there is no clear leader in the Southeast. There is no clear leader in many of the states. And I think at the moment, the governor of Imo State is the one that is being most decorated than others and getting more attention for reasons known to those who are giving the attention to them.
The Nnamdi Kanu issue. I personally don't think that the young man should have been jailed. The issues are more political. But what I was thinking the government would do was to invite him. I also didn't support those who said he should be released just like that. No, people have died. There's violence in the Southeast. Violence almost unprecedented. Only during the civil war did they have violence, the kind of violence they have today. So what I was thinking was that they would invite him and say, look, there is violence in the Southeast, people are suffering. What are your ideas regarding how this violence will stop if you are released? So that there could be, exchange of ideas regarding how to resolve the crisis in the Southeast. Not sending him to jail. But I'm sure at some point that conversation will go on because the problem has to be solved one way or the other. And I'm not sure he will also be left in jail for,
The case's been appealed anyway.